To me, it occurs that there are three issues that are assigned to us. That is the independence and role of state consequent to the amendments of the proposed Electricity Act 2003. There are 11 sections in the existing 2003 Act. Here I start from right from the beginning. Section 11, directions to the generating company, and Section 19 of license. Section 11 we have at some length discussed, and it has been, as far as the power producers or investment people who want to invest in the power sector, it has been detrimental to them. And we also, during the earlier session, we discussed what would be the consequences that are arising out of the imposition of Section 11 and the commitment they have for a third party sale. That is one thing. There has not been any change on that particular section. And Section 19 is another section which there has not been any change. Section 37, that is directions to the regional load dispatch centers. There has been some modification to Section 37. And Section 65 is another section. There has not been any amendment proposed. And Section 131, reorganization of boards. There are some provisions, some changes proposed. And Section 143, power to adjudicate. There is a special provision where a particular person may be assigned the job of doing the adjudication. 153 is the constitution of special courts, no changes. 162 is the appointment of chief electrical inspector, as Rao said this morning. There has been some changes in that. And 166 is the coordination forum, and the scope has been enlarged. 180 is the power of the state government to make rules under various provisions of the Act. And as I could see that there has not been any substantial change or changes that could affect the powers of the state government. So I am not in agreement with the proposition here. Independence and role of the state in consequent to the amendment, it is not affected. That is my first submission. Point number 2 is, in the context of making national tariff policy mandatory, I can only say under Section 61, the word tariff policy has been deleted. It has not affected the Section 61, the provisions of the 61. Permit me to read that particular section. 61I, the tariff regulations. Tariff regulations is contemplated under 61. 61I, national tariff policy and national electricity policy and tariff policy. The word tariff policy has been deleted. I don't think it would cause any great harm, but there are some certain important aspects in the tariff policy, like the metering and the water consumption, how the subsidy should be dealt with. Like it said, there has to be a meter which is prepaid meter, and a definite quantum of energy is provided. Two things will happen. It will ensure that that quantum of energy was supplied and it was used. The second thing is, depending upon the geographical area, the water requirement and the number of crops, there was a check and measure in the quantum of energy. In Karnataka, what has happened is 17,500 million units is the consumption attributed to IP sets. That constitutes about 39% of the energy. And as Dr. Rao said this morning, 23,50,000 IP set is highly jacked up figure. Look at the anomaly. What they submitted before CEA is around 18 lakhs. In spite of the consumer pointing out there is a big gap or credibility gap in the numbers provided by the supply company, the commission just said that only the 90% of the subsidy will be given, subject to certain things. There is a document available in the minor irrigation department which even has taken cognizance of borewells which are functional and dysfunctional. This is a big drain. Actually, the T&D figures, what we are all happily reading around 18% is factually incorrect. Nobody can vouch for the correctness of that 18%. Unless we are able to bring down the T&D losses to a level as what Commission has said, around 10%, there is no way we can manage this power sector well. Because T&D loss are all masked. That is the place where I think the Electricity Amendment Act has to very stringently look at that and say, if this is not happening, my friend Sridhar Prabhu made a small, allowance under Section 55. Under Section 55, it is required that no supply should be made after expiry of 2 years. But under Section 52(1), subject that the Commission could make some small modifications for a limited period and for a particular geographical area. That has not happened. I am not happy with that kind of DTC metering. The DTC metering concept itself is something like an approximation over approximation. Look at, take the instance of Bangalore Electricity Supply Company. In 108 of 2010, they said all the DTC metering is completed before the appellate tribunal. I would like to go on record. The latest one, that is 2015 tariff hearing, Managing Director of BESCOM said only 63% are metered. The case is not very different from Andhra Pradesh also, because I frequently go before the regulators. We found that even though there are DTC metering, it is not read. So my submission through this forum is that these are the areas which needs the plugging of the loopholes is something that has not been addressed in this proposed amendment. My submission is that, and in respect of the others, selection process for the regulatory commissions. I have found that, I entirely agree with Dr. Rao, this has become a rehabilitation center. At least in the case of CERC, there is a specific requirement that one person has to be a technical person, another person from the finance, and the person should be from judiciary. Whereas in case of 1999 Reforms Act, it only said at any given time, no two persons should be from the same field. Now, what is happening in Karnataka? Many of the judgments rendered by many of the orders rendered by this Honorable Commission is frequently going before APTEL. One of the retired IAS officer in the context of power sector, he told me, we Indians are not in the habit of making anything easy for our fellow countrymen. Totally it is applicable to power sector. We are not at all in any frame of mind to make things easy. And the fate of regulatory asset is something which is seriously bothers all of us, because it is only a commitment postponed for a future date. As far as I am concerned, once a regulatory asset is created in the tariff order, it has to be met by the consumer and consumer alone, unless the government chooses under Section 65 to subsidize, etc., which is very, very remote. That is something that should really, really concern us. And look at the paradoxical situation. Arising out of a APTEL order, 565 crores was to be brought back to the consumer's kitty. That is because instead of 14%, 15.5% return on equity was given. And after Federation of Karnataka Chamber of Commerce challenged that in respect of the assets created by the consumer's contribution, that was taken as a capital reserve. This anomaly, even in spite of showing to the Commission did not go into it. And finally, look at the order, the consequential order. 565 crores is adjusted advance against depreciation. Even the companies themselves did not ask for it. If a regulatory asset is there, the carrying cost is given. When it comes to the consumer, there is no carrying cost. This is because if the people who are sitting in the regulatory commission, if they have to satisfy the requirements or the dictums of their political bosses. Yeah, and on the last point, Selection committee, I entirely agree with my friend Mr. Sridhar Prabhu. The chairperson of any regulatory commission has to be a judge because there is an adjudication process, and the people who go there and occupy the chairman's post are generally not equipped to neither see the jurisprudence nor know how to pass an order. And then irrigation is supply to irrigation is a matter of concern, which I have already stated. And then pollution control, I agree with Dr. Rao, because unless we take care of the environment, we will perish. And overall, I would like to say is the regulatory rigor is totally missing in India. Unless this rigor is brought back, the promised land in the year 2003, prior to this bringing into force of 2003, I was a part of the discussion group. I thought I would share like this. I have been to the mountain top and I have seen the promised land. No, I have been thoroughly mistaken. I have been chasing a mirage. Unless this whole community, whole society wakes up to the reality that we need to address every issues that arise as and when it happens, not postpone it to future year, this kind of seminar will be only a cosmetic work. I hope that the message that people like me and my fellow panelists are saying reaches the government and effective actions are taken. Thanks for your patient listening.
Thank you, Mr. Prabhu. I forgot to mention earlier that I've been targeted to finish this session by 3:45. And I would request that the other speakers take 10 minutes each, so we have some time for discussion. Mr. Reddy.
The regulatory commissions, according to our speakers on the podium or in the audience, would always feel that they have not done full justice for the purpose for which they were created. As being an ex-regulator myself, I fully admit that we were not able to fully justify for the purpose they were created. Why? Fundamentally, as I told you, it is an alternate government body. It is a regulatory body. Even before it came, separate boards used to govern the power sector, not the government by itself. So then when the 2003 Act was introduced in the form of reforms, many of the states were not aware of the powers that were given to the Regulatory Commission. Then gradually they all accepted. They found that the powers were not sufficient for the government. There were a lot of issues have cropped in. I'm broadly telling why we were not able to do it. Then where the commissions were little independent, they found then we need to bring people our own choice so that he will hear, because they can't amend the act. The state government has no powers. Gradually they got diluted. In some cases they were subverted. So the whole process of regulatory effectiveness is lost because of this particular purpose. Now, in all the institutions, wherever, whether in India or anywhere, it is a person that counts. Person whom you select, it is a person whom. Unfortunately, that was not done. Then second issue is, sometimes single man will perform better, and that is known well in the country. When you have three persons, many a time it happens that three persons will pull in three different directions, coming from different diverse backgrounds, some from state government, some service, some from technical person from the same service, where his boss, MD of any DISCOM, he works with, let us say, director or chief engineer level, then he becomes member, then it is difficult for the MD to call him sir. See, there are a lot of issues. I'm only telling you dynamic things, how things are. Then as a result of which, the regulatory commissions could not be able to function independently, for which, not that they were not aware, they were not. So, thing is, I fully agree, the nature of selection, irrespective of the services, the type of person selected, and the coordination. These are the three reasons that were responsible for the government to rethink that something should be done. But what is being done is not an answer through the amendments. They are not strengthening the regulatory commissions appropriate way. On the other hand, they have taken a lot of powers. state governments now will definitely not like that their powers have been taken away. Central government only is the one now which is going to control and operate the regulatory bodies. That's what it looks like, what I read. That's what the concern of some of them. So the state governments will find it difficult to fully support this because their powers are taken away. Now they are very conscious after 10, 12 years of how the regulatory commissions have functioned. In some places, regulatory commission and governments were fighting with each other with their powers. So they don't want. So this is the problem that still we have concern. Now coming to the contents. Since the reforms that were started in 2003, electricity, it is the best regulatory act in this country, independent act, not even telecom, not even other acts. So now that is being taken away through this particular part. So the first thing is generation separated, distribution companies separated. At that time itself, there was a thinking, it should have been done. This content and carry which you are talking should have been done separate. Even now, it is not too late. Now through the process, everybody, every one of us should emphasize that it should be done. Yes, there are some problems in implementation that can be taken care. And SLDC and also should be separately made a company. That's what we have even requested, written to the state government in Andhra Pradesh. So all this should be independent bodies. Then coordinating and functioning definitely should not be very difficult. We can be able to achieve the success. The purpose, as I would like to tell, is, I told in the morning, but I re-explain. Everybody wants power. Government is not able to supply, that means through discounts. There are some people who are willing to pay higher tariff. Agriculture is not, is free for everybody in agriculture. Then there are many who are not getting power in the daytime. You get only midnight. There used to be a number of fellows who are crying on this. They want to pay for power. You are not giving power. No. You eat what I supply. You can't go to some other hotel and eat. I only serve this thing, you have to only eat. If you don't have power, you don't have power. So he has no option. So we have to have somebody, whatever may be, 1 megawatt level or even small level, there is a fellow who is willing to pay, he has to. You should be provided. That's why this is a must that we should be able to encourage, it should come. Some other issues can be taken later. Then, coming to the other issue, lot of procedural issues we are forgetting in the regulatory commissions. It takes hell of time to determine some issues. Of course, some limitation has come now. We have decided some issues of 14 years back issues. The one fundamental problem of protracted litigation, especially in power sector, among all the sector is one. You dispute. Suppose the distribution company pays, willing to pay tariff of only 3 rupees to the developer. He says 4 rupees or something. It goes on, goes on. I'm giving an example to clearly understand. After 10 years, you will decide. Then the liability, that means the total amount to be paid by this discounts, thinking that is the final thing, well, let us say 50 crores. Where will 50 crores go? That entire 50 crores will be added into this year, and the concurrent fellow will pay. That means what is happening is, somebody consumes power in the past, somebody else will pay additional cost in the present. This is to avoid. This is one of the reasons why lot of this kind of regulatory assets also are being created. Now coming to regulatory asset, I want to tell one thing. See, regulatory asset is not an asset, it's an expense, whatever it is. It is an accumulated expense sometimes. In the state governments also, we have also the same phenomena, but we don't call it regulatory asset. Some people have created, but we refuse to do that. See, in the government, in the case of state governments, it's the government which has to absorb all the losses, because all the discoms are owned by them. In the case of private companies, who will do? So if it doesn't do that, tomorrow you will not be able to get the past expenditure to be amortized in future. That's the reason why in Delhi they have done it. The same thing has to be do it. So one of the reasons is, this is the reason. So past expenditure now goes up, now concurrently you want to reach. So unless you bridge the gap, it's not possible. So you need a stringent time limits to decide these issues. And saying no is a very good thing in the government. Many discoms, at least Andhra Pradesh, I have seen, number of issues faced because of the negative reactions the discoms had against the generators. We had, I don't want to go into, we have one fuel surcharge, where the government is not burdened with an agriculture consumption charges. It went on. Finally, we removed. Now, as a result which, past consumption charges were paid by current consumers. There are many people who cried on this. Rental, I have given on rent, the fellow ran away, but the additional expenditure now has come. So anyhow, after I became little 4 months chairman, we removed it. What I am telling is, so these are the very important problems we have to do. Procedural is very, very important in this thing, and it is not addressed. I would like to request, if necessary, I can give on some note on procedural matter where the justice can be speeded up. 1 minute, I will finish it. That's 1 minute. Then coming to these penalties, though number of defaults are there by DISCOMs, we are not leaving penalties, we are little kind on. Whereas they are never kind on those developers who here for small reasons